Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. We often look ahead to future fights and we have these, desperate matchups. So-and-so's got to fight so-and-so and, I can't wait for this fight, that fight. And, there's been a lot of talk, for example, about Usyk versus Parker that may well not happen, which is unfortunate. Usyk versus Caballel. Caballel is another one, just like Joseph Parker, who thoroughly deserves his shot at all the belts, but will he get it? Probably not. And a lot of times these fantasy matchups don't occur. It's not really likely whether we'll get Tyson Fury versus Andy Joshua, and even if we do, it's well past its sell-by date. The heavyweight fight, the one I always use is Lennox Lewis never fought Riddick Bowe in the professional ranks. He Lewis beat Bowe in the final of the 1988 Olympics, but they never fought as professionals, which was a shame. Well, there's one fight that you should all be clamouring for, you should all be demanding, okay? And in certain parts of the world, they are demanding it. And that fight is between the undisputed super-bantamweight titleist Naoya Inoue and the IBF and WBC bantamweight champion, who is Junto Nakatani, right? Because I'm telling you now, and maybe in the West, people aren't realising this, they're not really paying attention. Well, it's far away, it's over the hills and far away. These are just little guys, we got bigger fish to fry, and that's the sort of attitude. But if you love boxing, and you don't care about weights and reputations and all that other, bum fluff that goes with hype and everything, if you care about really incredible matchups, you've got to be singing to the hills for a matchup between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, because this will be, if it happens, it looks like it will be the biggest fight in Japanese boxing history between two Japanese. Okay. So Nakatani, in case you don't know, you haven't been paying attention, and if you haven't, you really should, because there are so many great fighters in the lower weight divisions. Japan is going through these are halcyon days for Japanese boxing. It's a great era for Japanese boxing. But Junto Nakatani, the IBF and WBC bantamweight champ, he recently unified those two belts with a 6-round retirement victory over Ryosuke Nishida. And that was only in June, end of June, was it? Start of June, sometime in June. I can't remember. Was it 6 weeks ago? I can't remember. Anyway, it's very recent. And he's got 2 of the belts, and you thought, okay, maybe he'll go after the other 2, become undisputed. He's 27 years old. He's a southpaw, 5'8", so he's quite tall for the weight, which is good. Very aggressive, hits very, very hard, very skillful. A sort of typical Japanese warrior, really, you would call him. And then Naoya Inoue, well, what can we say about him? 30 wins, 27 KOs, no draws, no defeats. Has been on the floor a couple of times recently. Raymond Cardano's put him there. That was in the second round. It was early on in the fight, when it's second round. But Inoue came back and stopped him in 8 rounds. And then a few fights before that, he fought Lewis Neary and got put on the floor in the first round. Got up to knock out Neary in 6. But at super bantamweight, he's undisputed. He was undisputed at bantamweight. He's a 4-weight title holder, orthodox fighter. He is 32 now, which is not young for a super bantam, one of the lower weight guys. So he's 5 years older than Nakatani, but even I know people are going to say, well, he's been on the floor a couple of times. Maybe he's fighting at a weight that's too big, because he said he thinks he can go to featherweight, but not beyond that, which sounds sensible to me. But Nakatani will take some sort of confidence from the fact that Naoya Inoue has been put on the floor twice in his last 4 fights, is it? So he can be hit, and it's not surprising he can be hit, because he is very, very aggressive. He comes forward, looking for a good old-fashioned rumble. Extremely good footwork, positions himself perfectly. Very, very hard hitter. Whacks to the body brilliantly. There isn't really anything he can't do. But if you're going to be that aggressive, you will inevitably be potentially vulnerable just for a split second to a guy who has heavy hands, and that person might be Junto Nakatani. Now, between the two, I would say that Inoue, who's the shorter man by about 3 inches, is probably I would say he would definitely start as favourite, and I would say he's probably got better overall skills and may well have heavier hands. But with Nakatani, he's got 31 wins, no draws, no defeats, and 24 KOs. So there's a bit of wallop to him. You know, he does hit hard. I mean, he got rid of Vincent Astrolabio last year, about a year ago, roughly, June, July last year. Got rid of him in a round, just swatted him aside. He fought a guy, Tasana Salaplat of Thailand, who came in with this ludicrous 76 wins and 1 defeat record. Talk about a padded record. He lasted 6 rounds with Nakatani, and that was a defence of the WBC bantamweight title. And then he stopped David Contreras in 3 rounds. That was prior to the Nishida fight, and then he unified with Nishida. So he's at that weight. He is a heavy-handed little sod. He's also been a champion at super flyweight. And it's strange because at the lower weight, he was going more rounds. I mean, RG Cortez took him 12 rounds. Andrew Maloney had a fantastic shootout with him and got chinned. I mean, it was a very picturesque, shuddering sort of knockout in the 12th and final round. So maybe the extra weight, maybe moving up to bantamweight, has done Nakatani some good. Maybe he feels healthier, he feels stronger, he hits a bit harder, because he's not fighting, also-rans in any of these divisions. He was also a WBO flyweight champ at one point. Was it WBO or WBC? I think it was WBO. And the guy has won belts in different divisions. He is not to be sniffed at as far as this is not a flash in the pan. This is a guy who's proved himself. 31 fights, undefeated. Like I say, 5'8", which is a nice height, very nice height for that weight. So he can probably carry that super bantam poundage, very well. But this fight has to happen. Junto Nakatani, Naoya Inoue, it will sell out. You could sell a couple of 100,000 tickets. It will be a massive, massive event in Japan, and it should be. And us in the West, especially the people who are a little bit, I don't mean this in an unkind way, but a little bit ignorant of Japanese boxing, don't really pay much attention, you should be paying attention, because I'm telling you now, right, this could well be a classic, an absolute shootout, with a stacked card, and there's so much talent in Japanese boxing right now. You really should be paying attention. So anyway, I thought I'd mention that. Mark that down. You campaign for it. Scream it from the hilltops. Shout it from the rooftops. Naoya Inoue versus Junto Nakatani must happen. It's one of the must-happen fights in boxing. And if you're not familiar with Nakatani, go and have a look at him on YouTube. You will not be disappointed. It's a genuine threat to Naoya Inoue, especially the age Inoue is, the miles on the clock. Naoya Inoue is not a shot fighter. He's not even approaching a shot fighter. He may still be at his peak, or if he isn't, he's only ever so slightly over the peak. But Nakatani is a threat, I'm telling you now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and also subscribe to the channel and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. It makes sense. Thanks a lot, ladies and gents. I'll get you later. Bye for now.